Today, President Trump lifted all sanctions against Turkey. The president says Turkey has informed the U.S. it will make the 5-day ceasefire in Syria permanent. In response, the president says U.S. will remove economic sanctions that were imposed on the country after the invasion of Kurdish-held territory.
I've therefore instructed the Secretary of the Treasury to lift all sanctions imposed on October 14th in response to Turkey's original offensive moves against the Kurds in Syria's northeast border region. So the sanctions will be lifted unless something happens that we're not happy with. This was an outcome created by us, the United States, and nobody else, no other nation. Very simple. And we're willing to take blame, and we're also willing to take credit. This is something they've been trying to do for many, many decades.
So the president says the announcement of a permanent ceasefire validates his widely criticized course of action regarding the Kurds in Syria. But people on both sides of the aisle still say this is not a win.
We convinced the Kurdish military to fight ISIS for us. We convinced them to take down their defenses against a potential Kurdish invasion. And in return, we promised to protect them. And then, out of nowhere, a week and a half ago, Trump stabbed the Kurds in the back. He announced the pullback of our forces and invited, by press release, the Turkish army to march into Syria and destroy our ally, the Kurds.
It is far from a victory. Serious questions remain about how the decision was reached to precipitously withdraw from Syria and why that decision was reached. Further, the ceasefire does not change the fact that America has abandoned an ally. Adding insult to dishonor, the administration speaks cavalierly, even flippantly, even as our ally has suffered death and casualty. Their homes have been burned and their families have been torn apart.
Who's going to believe America's word as we give it? That's what the president does. He speaks for America. He keeps commitments.
The Trump administration says the goals in that region have been accomplished, and that's why we are leaving now.
The defeat of ISIS, which resulted in the physical destruction of the caliphate. We didn't sign up to fight a war to defend the Kurds against a long-standing NATO ally, and we certainly didn't sign up to help them establish an autonomous Kurdish state.
Not everyone in the administration, though, agrees. This is Jim Jeffrey, U.S. Special Envoy and for Syria and the global coalition to defeat ISIS. He told lawmakers that the mission was not complete and a troop pullout is making it harder to work with groups in the region.
We haven't seen any widespread ethnic cleansing in that area since the Turks have come in. Many people fled because they're very concerned about these Turkish-supported Syrian opposition forces, as are we. We've seen several incidents which we consider war crimes. But we have, as part of the agreement with Turkey, specific language on the proper care of civilians.
He also said that as many as 100 ISIS fighters who were being held by Turkish forces are now missing, and we have no idea where they are. Now, if you want to get caught back up on the history of how we got to the ceasefire, we break it down for you. You can see that explainer video in the KSL Plus section of this app, or check out our Instagram page.